Shinbone Valley Road. Thanatophobia is the Greek word that means the fear of death. And it's sort of a mashup of a couple of sort of remembered things from the past. So I guess we'll jump to a different couple of places in the past here. Dearest fawn, half crushed on the pavement, forgive me. Having found you already dying, panting, feebly hoofing the asphalt, unable to crawl away from your back end, limp, twisted, varnishing itself in black-red, hide gashed and mottled, light fur thickly matted. What my father once called mercy, I can't set my hand to, can't raise the barrel and send you leadenly into the after, where nothing awaits us. Life has been hard. It will yet be worse. For this, I am sorry. Yesterday, my father brought me 2 halves of a rattlesnake, one gripped by the rattler, the other the head. The pieces swayed in the wind. This is what happens, he said, and said nothing else. This is what happens, fawn, nothing else. I don't want to believe that. The weather is nice today, and will be a long time before I die. I found I was writing a lot of poems about dead deer last year. It was kind of disturbing, so I decided to start writing about other things. But I grew up kind of in the middle of nowhere in the country in Georgia, and there were lots of dead deer everywhere. You know, our relatives would drag them home out of the woods, and they'd be laying on the side of the road, you know, kind of everywhere. So I guess it's sort of this sort of haunting thing for me. The next poem is called Northerners in Tennessee. And in this one, I'm time traveling back to, actually to just this summer. I was at a writers' conference in Tennessee, which is where I was born, with some friends who were all from the north. And so the beginning of this poem starts with something that actually happened when we were at this writers' conference. Northerners in Tennessee. Once, I took them to a grocery store and the speakers started blaring, what do you know, dueling banjos on the radio the second we stepped through the sliding door. There was a kind of nervous comedy in my northern friends' expressions, something between disgust and satisfaction, splendor and spleen. But that's Monteagle Mountain, Tennessee. There's pasture land and country churches, sure, and quirky, postcard-worthy mom and pops. But right beside them, guns and ammo shops and battlefields, our monuments to war. There's bougie enclaves, gated cul-de-sacs packed full of Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz. Down the road, a meth lab, chicken pens, tweakers, cockfight hawkers, smoky shacks. There's soul food joints with fat folks like me, gravy drowning heaping stacks of meat while frightened, bone-pale trailer kids don't eat. Their dads cracked out in front of the TV. I was born here. Some days I am proud, others shamed. I tell my northern friends, you've got it wrong, but then, well, it depends, and my confidence evaporates like cloud. It's said that home and heart are tightly laced. The home is broken. Is the heart displaced? Tennessee is nothing. It's everything. It's Eden and Gomorrah with a twang. Couldn't resist the twang joke at the end. Everything. Anyway. So something else that I've been writing about a lot recently is sort of Bible stories. Now, I grew up in a sort of conservative Christian family, and these Bible stories have always stuck with me because of how just strange they often are. How strange and brutal, but also kind of strangely poignant. I don't know that this one I'm about to read is particularly poignant, at least the story that it addresses, but this is one of those. It's called Exegesis. And it references a Bible story from Judges, very short, about this guy, Shamgar, who killed like 600 Philistines with a stick, basically. That's pretty much all he gets. It's like this guy killed 600 Philistines with a stick and he saved Israel. That's kind of the whole story we get. So this is traveling back to Sunday school when I was a kid for this one. The illustrated books for children never showed the dark blood-slicking Shamgar's staff, or his face contorted with madness, the ox goad half buried in Philistines. His dead rot forever, 600 of them. But back in Sunday school, the slaughtered oppressors seemed to disappear. Shamgar leaning cool-eyed on his spear that wasn't one, a blameless farmer's tool. I relished every word my teacher read from her picture Bible, memorized each face, the scowls and cool-eyed stares held fast by paint. With God on their side, no one counts the dead. Dylan, years later, taught me that. Erase the blood, you're left with mythos, hero, saint. So this next poem is it's kind of an elegy for my maternal grandfather. He died when I was about 5 years old. And it has an epigraph from the book of Isaiah. It says, "Having a live coal in his hand, he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, thine iniquity is taken away." It's called Joseph Van Gilreath, 1922 to 1990. Back from the war, he married a church girl. Together, they worked his father's farm until the farm wouldn't pay. Then both took jobs in the carpet mills that sprang up like pokeweed across the Georgia foothills. She called him a tall drink of water. Long and lithe, he towered over everyone, though all in those parts came from the same Scotch-Irish stock, all Gilreaths, Hoods, McRaes, Little Johns, all stooped and copper-haired. Once, he doused a cigarette on his wife's tongue as, eyes closed, she stuck it out at him. Weeks later, the razor hook of his carpet knife slipped from its work and sank into his eyeball. He called it his just desserts. For years, when he fell asleep in his chair, his glass eye open and glistening as he snored, he scared the life out of his grandkids. Like Christ, he was always watching. On a hot Tuesday, while his old International idled beneath him, his heart seized. They found him in the fresh plowed dirt, his good eye staring at the sun, the glass one half buried in the earth. It was always really creepy when I was a kid, seeing my grandpa sleep with his eye open. I could never remember which one was the real one and which one was the glass one, so I didn't know if he was actually asleep or if he was just watching us see what we would do. This next poem is also, I was writing a lot of poems about my grandfathers last year too, both of whom have now passed. And this is a poem sort of to both of them. It's called Psalm 137. Where now are the old men of my childhood who laughed, swore, jawed plugs of tobacco, and spat the red-brown swill into the dust while their wives lined pews and threw their bodies on the altar, wailing, "I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown"? Where are the men who pressed through briars and barbed wire, scoured close-grown pine woods for winter calves, heaved the bleating beasts onto their shoulders, and trudged through frost as hot piss trickled down their backs? Where are the young men who, elbow-deep in grease, leaned, blackened, into the shells of internationals, knuckles bloodied, the tools, and tooled the cast-iron carcasses to life? Where are the boys who strung up two-point bucks by kerosene light, and sliced the creature's throat to groin, and flushed out the steaming viscera? Where are the children who squatted by creeks and dark pine thickets, hovered over the waters, dragged their fingers through the loose silt, feeling for the delicate forms of crawdads and tadpoles, who tore through briars with wild abandon and sprang forth bleeding, laughing, swatting mosquitoes from their necks and picking burrs from their hair, who, bodies light and scrubbed red, dozed through hymns and sermons on thick-aired church days and woke to the sobs of old women while the organ